So thank you for joining us in the latest of the updates from members of the LTS team. Today I'm joined by Dr. Iris Schnitzler, leader of marketing and market services, a subject close to my heart, certainly. Iris, welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Paul. I'm happy to be here.
So for those of us who know you, we know all of the work that you do at LTS and the great job that you do for them. But for those of us who perhaps don't know you quite so well, perhaps you could tell us a little bit about what you do and what it involves.
Of course, Paul, I will try. So I'm heading the marketing and market services department at LTS. I think for people working in marketing, it's quite obvious what I do. I do the usual marketing task in a business-to-business environment, specifically external communication, what means to inform our customers, potential customers, and other stakeholders who LTS is, what the company does, about our therapies, our technologies, and of course about the latest news at LTS. And we do this by preparing brochures, hosting website, doing social media stuff, hosting webinars, going on trade shows fair. So the typical stuff for a marketing person. Market services is a little bit different to that. It's more the analytical part of my marketing tasks. We are doing business intelligence, market research, competitive intelligence. So yeah, let's say the figures, markets of the pharma industry.
Cool. People will have noticed that I called you Dr. Iris. So you're not a typical marketing person in that you actually hold a doctorate in this subject.
Yeah, and not in marketing, to be honest. I'm a chemist. I studied chemistry and started at LTS as a head of R&D in the laboratory doing patches for skincare. And then I had a career. I was in sales and business development, and since 8 years, I'm now in the marketing department. So, and I hope it makes it a little bit more easy for me to communicate our technologies because I've developed them myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So no one could have failed to see the messaging behind you, and 2021's been an interesting year. Ta-da! Has been an interesting year for LTS because, of course, you've developed a new brand purpose and a new brand promise. Perhaps you could tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was a nice work, and you supported us. Thank you for that, Paul. Most companies have a mission and a vision, and some have a value proposition, and that's quite important for every company. But if you think what you really drives in life, it's more the purpose you seek in what you're doing. So I think in general, working in pharma industry makes it a little bit easier to find a purpose because usually your company develops or manufactures medicinal products, medical devices, therapies to make patients' life easier. And so that's quite nice to find a purpose for yourself. And so a lot of companies talk about patient centricity. But we want to go a little bit beyond and talk about the motivation at LTS that we have. And so we discussed internally, what are we doing here and what is driving us? And we came up with the LTS purpose, which is we care, we create, we deliver.
I think having just written a piece from all of the senior managers or senior leaders within the organisation, what comes through really strongly is just how much they're aligned to this purpose and absolutely believe in we create, we care, we create, we deliver. And it's clearly much more than just some words. It really is a very strong sentiment within the business. But of course, a purpose like this should have relevance for all stakeholders, not just senior leaders, both internal and external. So how do you go about ensuring that's effectively communicated to all of those groups?
Yeah, this was quite a challenge. for us. So for me personally, I found it easier to do the external communication, because telling what the purpose means to LTS, I think it's quite obvious. So of course we care about patients and our customers. We create technologies and products every day. And of course we are a CDMO, we manufacture products, so we deliver products to the market. So these were easy stories to tell. But if we go internally and to get all the people at LTS behind our purpose, this was a little bit more difficult for me. So as you mentioned, we asked our global leadership team to write down what the purpose means to them personally and for their departments and the areas they are working in. And it was really interesting what was coming up, what they were thinking. So, for example, caring is, of course, we care also for our employees and their families. It's caring for the environment. It's caring for the part that where we are living. So the regions where we all live or we are working. So there's much more caring than for patients and for our customers. And for developers, this was also interesting because they are also people creating machines at LTS, our engineers, to manufacture the products. There are people that create processes, internal processes to make our lives easier. And we had the task of digitalization. We have this every day. And so there are creative people that try to digitalize processes at LTS. So there is much more creating. And if we think about deliver, it's not products. I think we all at LTS, but everywhere, deliver every day by doing our work thoroughly and in time.
It's been it's been a really interesting read, and anyone who's watching this, I'd encourage you to read the article that's linked to this interview, because it's very rare, certainly when you speak to perhaps more science-led people who tend to be more rational than emotional, the real sense of emotion and pride that comes from this, and that's it's really important. I think that there is that absolute connection with customers and patients and the wider community in which we sort of live and work.
Yeah.
I guess I'd finish by asking you about your ambitions for yourself and for LTS in 2022. A rest, I suspect, may be part of your ambition list in the short term, given what you've done this year. But thinking beyond January 4, what's your personal and professional ambition?
Yeah. So I think we have to drive our purses to the next step. So we want to launch the second wave of our Care, Create, Deliver campaign. In the first one, we talked about the company and what she's doing for the purpose. And now we want to go more into the individual persons. So we will talk about LTS employees and how they care, create, and deliver every day. So we will have personal stories. And for me, so for my work life also, I hope that we will have face-to-face meetings again, that we can go again to trade shows and fairs and exhibitions, and that we can discuss in person, exchange ideas, because I'm really missing that. Of course, the digital way is working, but it's different if you meet in person. And Paul, I would be happy to have you here in Andernach, because we two never met. We just met digitally. So I would be happy to see you here in Andernach.
No, I very much look forward to that. I guess we just need to get over this next Omicron hump, and then hopefully the world will return to some kind of normality and safety. And yeah, very much look forward to that. Iris, thank you. Really insightful. Lovely to talk to you as always. For those of you watching this, as I say, there's an article associated with this interview where you can hear from the leadership team on their interpretation of We Care, We Create, We Deliver. I would encourage you to take a couple of minutes to read that and find out more. But for now, Iris, thank you ever so much. And I will take this formal opportunity to wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Paul. All the best for you and your family, and hope to see you soon.